Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Theology and Worship Podcast. Here we exist to equip worshipers for spirit and truth worship. In the first century, something happened called the diaspora. The diaspora was basically the dispersing of the Jews from their homeland. The reason why this is important for the conversation about coronavirus, about COVID-19, is because God used the diaspora to actually accomplish the dispersing of the Christians who were huddled in Jerusalem. And this ultimately is what took the gospel to the rest of the nations. This ultimately is what exploded the force of the gospel from the epicenter of Jerusalem all the way into, Western civilization as we enjoy it and experience Christ today. Jesus actually commissioned the disciples. This is right before he ascended into heaven. You can find this in Acts chapter 1. He says, "You will be my witnesses in Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." So this was the mission given by Jesus to the disciples to be his witnesses all the way outside of Judea, Jerusalem, into Samaria, which was like their enemies, right? The homeland of their enemies, and to the ends of the earth. Jesus always expected that the gospel would reach the uttermost points of the earth. The problem is the Jerusalem church, as is the church's custom, got pretty comfortable just staying in Jerusalem. In fact, they amassed thousands of Christians there, and they were really stuck there. And it's the diaspora, or the dispersing of the Jews, and really he did this by means of the Roman Empire adding the friction and adding government to the Jews that they did not like, destroying the temple eventually in AD 70, and then ultimately in the martyrdom of Christian saints. This is how God, or at least he allowed these things to happen, that he might disperse the church amongst the world. They were on the run, and this actually took the gospel outside of Judea and ultimately accomplished his mission. God used this. This is how he rolls, right? He is often using what the enemy means for evil. He's turning it for good, and this is one of those instances. So it begs the question, what is God doing? What is Christ doing with COVID-19? What is happening in our world? Is this actually an opportunity, like the diaspora was, for us to accomplish further the mission of Jesus? Now, he didn't just call us to go and be witnesses to the ends of the earth, but we have very clear marching orders in Matthew 28:18. We have the Great Commission. He wants us to go, therefore, as we are going, making disciples in all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so I'm wondering, and I think the whole church collectively is wondering, if you think about it, what a unique time to be alive. Every human on the planet has been recalibrated, realigned to point the same direction. We're all thinking, how are we going to defeat this global pandemic? How is humanity going to continue amidst this chaos, the chaos of the coronavirus? We're all together facing one enemy, one faceless enemy. We're all together joined to help, with stopping this virus from spreading. And what a unique time. The church has been forced to get our minds off of budgets and off of, how many people are in attendance, and the building is literally emptied out, and it's an opportunity for the gospel to move in discipleship. And I think that, the call right now is for us to social distance. But the call of Christ is for us to come together in discipleship. And so I think God is doing something very interesting with the church where we have reached the ends of the earth. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. There are a few unreached people groups left, but for the most part, we have exploded this thing. And now it's time, I think, to disciple and to draw close together and get back on mission together and start realigning to go the same way and to care for people in a way that is radical and that we have not done before. And it's going to be over video. It's going to be over FaceTime. It's going to be through Zoom Bible studies, and it's going to be through church online. I mean, I'm going through this whole thing right now of we are producing church online. We overnight have become a TV station. That is what we're doing now. We've had to learn new technology, and we've had to put new systems in place. We've had to start meeting on the internet instead of face to face. We're going through what does it look like to be a church in this 21st century where we can only meet online. And I think it's really interesting how we are socially distancing in the physical, but I'm seeing people gather and hunker down closer than ever in the spiritual. And I think this is a real opportunity for us to ask, just like the diaspora, what was God doing in allowing the tribulation of the saints in the first century? Well, he was expanding and exploding the gospel to the outermost parts of the world. Well, what is Christ doing with COVID-19? Is he calling us to draw closer together than ever before? And I think, I've heard a lot of people talking and talking about verses about peace and about it's all going to be okay and God is in control and God is sovereign and he's by his stripes we are healed. I've heard all that stuff, but I want to back up even further and say what good is God going to bring from this evil? And honestly, this is the first time, at least in my lifetime, where the whole world is on the same page. This is different than 9/11. Okay, this is different than America's rallied together. No, the nations in this moment can rally together. The church across the globe, we are going the same direction. The sects of Christianity don't matter. Our doctrines and our distinctives are seemingly fading away, and all we are doing is clinging onto Christ and clinging onto the church and what that means to be the church, and we are walking in and through this thing together. So let's be together. Though we are socially distant, let's draw closer together than ever before. How this fleshes itself out is reach out to your people. Skype, set up some Zoom meetings. Let's talk about more than how to keep the Western church thing going. Let's talk about what does it actually mean to be hunkered down in your house with your family? What childhood wounds are coming out? What gaping holes in your heart are being exposed because you're now locked in one place, quarantined? And let's live life together asking God, what are you doing in and through all of this?